Good
Oh my
morning.
gosh. What a way to start my morning. Yay.
Yes.
How are you?
So good. I slept in a little bit this morning and just finishing up my first cup of coffee. So glad to hop on and chat with you this morning for your breakfast bite of insight. Such a great title. I actually had a couple of people reach out to me and they're like, I want to be on Breakfast Bite of Insight. So I have to make a couple introductions for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I am happy to get more guests. So yeah,
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
I feel so ooh, oh, wow. Okay. I'm feeling pretty big now. You know, episodes and whatnot.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
17 in.
Right.
I know going live is intimidating. Yeah, I went live every day in December, and that was definitely a good accomplishment. But I really haven't been live since, and so this might inspire me to get back on the bandwagon because I love it. Good morning. We've got Hope and Yolanda,
Yolanda.
Charlene coming in.
Yeah, yeah, nice, nice. You know what? Anna, it's been a couple years. It's been a couple years. So I have to before I get you tell your story. I got a little story for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was this woman. She was in the middle of 2020 and in the middle of all the layoffs and everything, and completely thrown off guard and devastated and was laid off and and had no idea really what to do on LinkedIn or those kind of things and then shortly thereafter her sister passed away and all and it was just a traumatic. Couldn't figure out what to be anymore when she grew up or anything whatsoever. I don't know if you recognize that person, but they're talking to you right
Sounds
now.
vaguely familiar.
They are talking to you right now. You'll never know how much you made a difference in my life from there going on. When we say BFF, we both know that like it's no lie. You guys will be nuts when we get together. You don't even want to see it. It's gonna be ugly. But
I know.
the trek and the going through and the figuring out and the asking questions and you kind of were like in a transition too and really doing anything you could to help and to guide and to make introductions and accountability and all the things and never come with the beat up stick, knowing just how people can feel so defeated and hurt
Mhm.
and even yesterday I wrote a post about like I started off with I'm this, I'm that, and it really wasn't about me, but the whole the whole crowd was like, "Oh, you're going to be okay," and it was so amazing that it proved just like through us, networking and talking and meeting other people and you saying like just reach out and go do this, how much you build this community that's I grant you most of the time in these little boxes that, we don't get the time together, but what a gift we got.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so I appreciate that you have resolve, you have determination, you have grit, but you have this light and love for people to help them that has impacted so many people. So I hope they continue to reach out to you and tell you what you're
Yes.
doing for them because it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Thank you. It's I think well, I know that, I strive to do this work because, I want to be there for the person I needed when I was going through job transition or when I was trying to figure something out. So, I make it's very intentional if I talk to newer coaches or newer entrepreneurs, like, sharing as much as I can because we're going through so many trials and tribulations trying to figure it all out. I mean, thanks Marie Forleo, but not everything is so
Right.
easily figure outable, like, I mean, I don't mean to go against the grain, but it's, having community and really showing up here and being willing to give and receive and recognize that the people behind these little circles are humans is really powerful. And LinkedIn and networking and visibility here is a marathon. It is not a sprint, and it takes consistency. It takes trial and error. And we were talking about that a little bit earlier. And I just remember our first couple interactions, and I was a very new coach, and I was obsessed with you and trying to support you and empower you and boost you up to help you see how absolutely fabulous you are, and how you could convey that, whether it's transitioning into being a business owner or into work. And that's again the results that I look to create. But then it's also, I build this community of my career BFFs, and we support each other as we go through these different seasons of our career and our entrepreneurial, journey. So yeah, it's amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing. I had to refer to a couple of things that I think kind of have built you in the background, and speaking of heavy resilience and getting through. I think you had a recent celebration, right? A
Yes.
milestone.
Yeah. So
And
I celebrated 11 years alcohol free, so 11 years sober. And, that is something that I talk about publicly. I grew up going to organizations that help you stay sober. And I kind of turned away from my community and that part of my world because of the pandemic and whatnot. And, I would say some of those old character defects, those old ways of thinking, the disconnection from my higher power, my connection with source kind of started to diminish a little bit. And honestly, I was in collusion. I was in conflict with my values and my belief systems. And, I was doing work that I was really not loving, so I struggled to show up there, and I was, trying to continue building career BFF and managing a team and a spouse that traveled a lot, and just a lot of, other just emotional challenges, right? I mean, this pandemic, we have all been through so much. And I think we forget that, where things have started to open up and you see this like little bits of, hope and sunshine, and then it's like then you get catapulted back to like that fear and anxiety. And so, I was really kind of in some dark places. Like I was still able to show up, but really not as vibrant as I in true alignment, right? And so my higher power source has a sense of humor, and I made a job transition and I went to Mexico, and it was at this wellness resort, which is like all vegan and meditation and yoga. I mean, it was like perfect for me. And I just got really quiet again. And, sometimes that's the hardest thing, to just be with yourself, because we're so busy. We look externally to fill that hole, right? And that's why I drank, because I wanted to fill that hole with alcohol and whatever else. And as I've healed and progressed on this journey, I have awareness today that, there are things that I need to do to maintain that level of vibrance and health. And so messages hit me smack in the face that it was time to get back to work. And I've been doing the deal and kind of getting realigned and getting back into my kind of spiritual fitness, as I say. And, of course, everything is like coming back together, and it's like in ease and flow. And it's like, wow, when we have that awareness and we're able to surrender kind of our ego and be like, okay, like, please help me figure this out. And it's also about
Right.
asking for help. I reached out to someone that has what I want when it comes to sobriety. And I said, I need your help to kind of refigure my mindset. And I've been doing that since. And so it's one day at a time, but I know for me to pick up a drink is deadly. Because that's just the kind of addictive personality I am.
Mhm.
So, luckily I find ways to pour that passion into other things like serving job seekers and doing recruiting, and just trying to be the leader that I needed when I was struggling. And I think it's a perfect time with May being Mental Health Awareness Month to talk about it publicly, because
Yeah.
I never wanted to. I was in recruiting and standing next to my buddies, and they'd be like, "You reek of alcohol," and I'm like,
Oh,
I only had 2 bottles of wine last night. Like, what's the problem? I'm here, right? But was I really there, right? Was
yeah.
I really showing up and being the best employee, the best parent, the best wife that I could be?
Wow.
And so, yeah, so today is, just past 11 years alcohol free. And
Wow.
I am just grateful.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. And congratulations, because that's
Thank
a long
you.
time and it is every day. So
I
that's
mean,
a
it's like literally I'm the most inconsistent person. Like if you even look back at my content, I'm all over the place, right? Very multidimensional. And the fact that I've been able to, manage this for
yeah,
11 years and not go crazy is literally a true miracle. And it's just, yeah. I mean, and I think about my why is my 13-year-old daughter. She doesn't remember me drinking. And, I we talk openly about it, and she knows it runs in the family. Like, it's an area that we want to be radically honest about, because this stuff is nothing to play around with.
absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you, Dion. Thank you, Jason. Hey, Jolie. All my
We had a
friends.
gathering. Yeah, they'd love it. And it's so good that you share that, because I think it's important to keep it in public's eye, right? Who could you impact? I know that you do this on like all your social and share that, and I don't know how many people have reached out to you, but I imagine that even if it's one that you can
And
say,
that's the thing. Yeah,
right?
even if it's one person that I was able to just like spark that little bit of hope that they decided to, get counseling or find a support group, or, talk to someone candidly that they were struggling. I mean, that's literally my intention, because for me, my sister got sober before I did, and I saw how her life changed. And when my life and marriage was in shambles, and I was like, well, I need therapy. That'll be the ticket. But at the time I couldn't afford therapy. So I went somewhere else and vomited up all my problems, and they told me what to do, and I just have kept doing it. So it's been a wild journey, but a lot of the principles that I've learned through my journey getting sober, you will see show up in some of my coaching concepts, as far as progress not perfection, and just really taking care of yourself so that you can be the best version of yourself when you're interviewing, when you're along that journey to hunt for opportunities,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So I focus on the self-care piece quite a bit, because that's a journey that I'm always on as well.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That does that, plus fostering and
Fostering, yeah.
nurturing
So
those relationships,
I
and there's
know.
something to that, isn't there? I mean, that's isn't there like a soft side there? You have a story about
I
how you
do. I
foster.
mean, you know, I have been a dog lover since I was a toddler, and I was always on the floor with the dogs. And when I was building Career BFF, my buddy said to me, Anna Morgan, a dog's best friend, Anna Morgan, a career's best friend. And so here we are with Career BFF. And, you know, I did a newsletter probably a couple months ago, but, you know, the way I think about things, and this could be my neurodiverse ADHD brain, or just my creative, brilliant brain, or just my squirrely brain, whatever you want. I often see a lot of similarities between dogs and people. Like I look at them and like Jason Hopper wants to know what breed of dog I think of when I see him. And I'm never going to tell because I just don't tell. But, it's
Ah,
the transformation that I see when I adopt dogs that come into my house, because I only adopt from shelters or organizations. I've never bought a dog, but I'm really calling in a Boston Terrier or a French Bulldog. So I'm just putting that out there in the world for a rescue. If one becomes available, the Morgan household might be interested. But when they come into your home, right, they have been abandoned, right? They're mistrusting, they are uncertain, they have been on a journey that we don't really know, right? So think about the job seeker when they come to a coach and look for support. They've been rejected, they've been ghosted, they've been abandoned, they've, probably bit someone in the interview because they didn't know how to answer the question, or they're just mistrusting and they're lost, right?
yeah,
And when you bring a pet into your home over with the training and the support and the unconditional love, you start to see that transformation, right? And they understand their routine, and you start seeing those little, kind of animal smiles, if you will.
yeah.
And it's beautiful, right? And they start to know their place, and they start to have success and build and confidence. And that's like the exact result that I like to create for my clients, right? Like
Yeah.
I love on them so much when they come to me, and I, try to pull out all those things from their story. And it's not just about them as a professional, right? Like
Right.
if you know me, you know that I go kind of deep quickly with people because
Yeah.
I believe in understanding you kind of holistically to
Right.
then put things back together in your resume or in your profile, and then how to put your stories together to present in your interviews. And so it's like the incredible journey for the, and so it's silly, but
I
that's
love it.
just me. That is the
Yeah.
way my brain works.
Yeah.
And animals have been just a huge healing aspect in my life. And, anytime I'm having a tough day, I just get back down on the floor, get some snuggles. And I have 4 rescue dogs currently, and they're all above 30 pounds. So I get lots of, unconditional love there.
Oh, that's
um, so hopefully that answered
wonderful.
the
Yeah.
question.
Yes. No, I love that story. It's fantastic. I love how you tie it all together. Do you think, well, I should say, what do you think is happening now? We trekked through 2020 was a disaster, of course, with jobs. 2021, I didn't even know what to talk about there. But now, like what happened? Was it there?
It's like a Twilight Zone. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
it's crazy. Again, like those of us that have been here running this, it's like it's all over the place. And
Yeah.
I mean, we've had the great resignation, we've had the great reshuffle, and my spidey sense with some of these recent layoffs with Carvana and Netflix. I think there's a lot of things going behind the scenes with organizations right now. And so it's a recession is coming. I mean, it's inevitable. History repeats itself, and I think we should know that, right? And that's part of why being on LinkedIn and building community and building your brand is so important, so you can have that career insurance. But it's a little nerve wracking. I mean, the leaders of organizations have just been through the ringer trying to figure out taking workforces completely remote and then trying to bring people back. And now I think we're seeing the ripple effect of some of the financial decisions, which is why we're seeing those layoffs. So I think the next 6 months is going to be, I think hiring is still going to keep accelerating. I think for people in active job search, every interview, every interaction is going to count. So, where maybe some candidates have had the run of the mill and lots of options lately, I think that is going to narrow down. I think the funnel is going to be narrowing. So when you get those interviews, when you get those opportunities, it's going to be important that you execute efficiently, and that you're also, completing the steps to really follow up solidly to build that relationship, make that impression, and hopefully accelerate that opportunity. Um, so that's pretty much my 2 cents. I think people need to be prepared. I think, tracking your accomplishments, keeping your resume up to date, being consistent on LinkedIn is always going to serve you, whether you're perfectly happy in your job or not. Staying visible. I mean, so many people say to me, Anna, you're everywhere. And I'm like, I'm really not. I mean, I have a full-time job. I do 6 to 10 interviews a day, but I make time to go out and give to other people. And I make 2 or 3 posts, a year, or not a year, a week. Sorry. And it's sustainable,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
people see me on the platform. Therefore, I'm top of mind, which brings in opportunities for if I wanted to make a job change or to speak on a podcast or come on live with you,
Right.
things like that. So that's the power of staying visible.
What would you say when companies want individuals to basically brand themselves as the company versus keeping their own brand on LinkedIn? Do you what is your advice for that?
So it's funny that you said that.
Mhm.
My employer, Rocket Power, is a RPO recruiting consulting firm, and we have been building a recruiter readiness program. And I was recognized as a thought leader to train our recruiters on the bench on how to present their personal brand, the Rocket Power brand, and their client brand. So if you look at my profile, you'll see that I am still representing Anna Morgan, Career BFF. You can see that I work at Rocket Power, but I'm actively recruiting for Farmers Business Network. So I am now doing monthly trainings to employees of Rocket Power on how to do that. And that's through the ripple effect of my experience on LinkedIn. And here's what I'll say to employers. I recommend employers invest in, having trainings like this, because the value prop for the
Mhm.
employee and the data and like research I've done just on the RP employees is, if they were given a customizable cover image that was branded, they would use it. If they were guided on how to write an about section that converts, they would take the instruction. They wanted to know, how to use the banners, how to add the new website link in the top of their profile, really how to optimize it to get on an engagement or attract their ideal, candidates. So I always think it is, corporations don't want to pay to find talent. And if you think about what's in it for the employee and you are comfortable with your culture as an employer, that your employees can do both. They can
Mhm.
build their personal brand and highlight who they work for. It is a win-win, and it builds momentum way faster than ads and having to pay to, find talent. I mean, your employment brand is such an underutilized aspect I see in corporations. They want to focus on selling the product or
Right.
service. And it's like, if you didn't have the people, you wouldn't have the products. Like, let's be
Yeah.
a people over everything kind of concept,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it will all work. But
Right.
again, there's a lot of moving parts in that. So employees, your LinkedIn profile is like your bat signal of who you are. And it starts with your face. And then it starts with the story that you tell in your profile. But you can do both. You can talk about the company that you sell for and who you are as a human, because that's what we connect with. And that's a lot of what I coach to. It's like that connection over qualification. Because if you think about how you buy, right? Like, I buy Athleta leggings because they feature women that are a size 14 like me on the cover. And it's like, that's me. Okay. Yeah, I need those yoga pants. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing with your profile. Like it's relatable. If you have those common aspects, you're more likely to convert to a conversation. And then conversations are where the magic happens, right?
Right. I like it. I like
Love
it.
it.
Good advice. Good advice. It's a good thing Rocket Power's got you for sure.
Thank you. They're an awesome company, by the way. I've
Yeah.
been super impressed. We had a big one-on-one, like hands-on meeting. Such great like transparency from leadership, celebrating employees. I mean, really just down to earth, like where we're going, how many people we're going to be hiring, impact that we've made on our clients. And I really feel that we're still going to see kind of this RPO recruiting consulting concept continue to expand.
Mhm.
So, I think recruiters might be getting a little bit nervous right now because companies have hired so many recruiters. And then it
Mhm.
was like when things slow down, they're like, bye, recruiters. We're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So, again, like networking within your organization, networking on LinkedIn is so, so important.
Good advice. Good advice.
I was just checking
So
out the comments
we
here. Sorry.
yeah, yeah, Jason. Who does Jason Hopper? We love you. You're
I'm
awesome.
obsessed with Jason.
We
I got to meet him in person when all those years ago, Jason, back at the Who You Know show with
yeah,
Trevor and friends. But I'm definitely due to come back to Texas here, probably later this summer, early fall, and I'll make it over to see you too, Lena, for sure.
yes, for sure, for sure. Yeah, you cannot step in Texas without seeing me, so
I
that's
promise.
gonna
I
happen.
promise. I will build it into the plan. I saw G the last time I was
I
there,
know,
so
I
now
know.
I'll see you. I really, one day want to be a full digital nomad and travel across the United States and meet all the amazing, super cool people I've met from
Oh
LinkedIn.
god. 100%. Yeah, that would be so fun. All
Wouldn't it
all
be
the
fun?
people.
It would even be more fun if I could get like a caravan of people to do it with me.
Now we're talking. Well, we gotta go off channel. We'll talk about that. Like,
I
we
know.
got a
Jason
plan.
still wants to know. Jason, like, I honestly don't know what kind of dog I think you are. And I actually tried like these apps where I could put someone's face and see like what kind of dog they recommended. And the apps like never worked. Um, it's more of a feeling, Jason. You're like one of those, okay, I'll go there. Like a terrier type that is just like smiling ear to ear, maybe like half terrier, half Jack Russell, super fast, but very affectionate, funny, does like lots of tricks, kind of runs around. Yeah, that's how I think of you, Jason.
I feel like I can see that.
I know. See?
That's
So funny.
amazing. Man. Well, I tell you what, because I don't have a dog. Oh, he's still, or I guess a slow one. You need to make, and Yolanda said you need to make, gee, you need to make the Anna Morgan Roadshow reality, right? Gee, I know that sounds like
That would be
fun.
hilarious. I mean, I have had people say like I need my own show of sorts.
Uh-huh.
And one of my earlier clients, Alan, she had said like you need a sidekick and then, to figure out your your road show. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I definitely need to start going live again and
Yeah.
make a podcast. So open to podcast name ideas. Just I could keep it simple. Career BFF live. Anna Morgan, your career BFF, coming in hot with job search tips today.
So good. Yeah, you've done that. You've kind of like gone the gamut around and like been on a lot of shows and yeah, it's time get pop back on there for the summer and everything. And tell you
Yeah.
what, I've been running into some people recently that are getting laid off.
Okay.
All of a sudden, and so I want you to give them a last bit of advice before we decide to go so that they know that there's still hope. We went through this so many times in the last 2
Mhm.
years, but apparently it's happening again somewhat.
Mhm.
And
So
I'm,
I think
you know,
for anyone who may be nervous about being part of a layoff, and I had someone reach out to me about this recently, or has recently gone through it. really something to think about is your current existing network within the organization that you work with. So, one thing that I'm seeing is that people don't really think about how important it is when we exit an organization, whether it's by our choice or we're forced. So, while you're employed, like make sure that you have contact details of the mentors, the leaders, the influencers, the people that you think or know may know people that could help accelerate opportunities for you. So it's always trying to think about, and this is where it comes very naturally to me because I'm a salesperson at heart, that I'm always connecting the dots and thinking about the other, layers past Lena. Who does Lena know in her industry? So forth and so on. So step one is to make sure you have your digital Rolodex of the key people that know your character, can speak to your integrity, can speak to your success in that organization, right? And
Mhm.
if or when you get displaced, I personally have made it a point, and I did this when I was laid off, is that I sent personalized messages to all the people that really impacted my life while I had been working at that organization. And that act paid it forward 10 times over, from the referrals, the top of mind, the introductions. And so that is a very simple strategy that I think a lot of people miss, that
Mhm.
they get laid off and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to go look out here for a job. When in fact, there's so much within your phone,
Mhm.
your Facebook connections, and the current people that you worked with. Work with that first before you're starting over, right? So I think that's one small thing that they can do. And then the second thing is just to execute your job search like it's a full time job, but make sure that you're carving in your meditation and exercise time, your self care time, time block your time on LinkedIn so you're just not spinning down the rabbit hole. And the thing that really had moved the needle for me when I was in transition, it's like, if there's something we want, go out and give it to someone else. So I want a job, but to get out of my head, I'm going to go out and help Lena try to find a job. And by just luck, nature, whatever, it comes back that, oh, I helped her do that. So that actually made me think I need to follow up with Jason and send him a little bit of a message.
Right.
So to get out of ourselves, be of service to someone else. And oftentimes that ripple effect will really change the trajectory of your search. And you'll find comfort in that when you're being of service to other people. And it will hopefully diminish if you find yourself in that pity party or kind of victim mindset. When you experience a layoff, you're going to grieve. I mean,
Mhm.
I cried for days. There's the whole process of grief that you go through when someone makes that decision for you. And it doesn't feel good. It's ouchy, it's icky. And you want to acknowledge that, because if you don't, you build up resentments, you're not dealing with your feelings, and that's never healthy, right? But have hope. There are people here that will support you. And that is the number one thing about LinkedIn, is that, people truly are kind and supportive. And if you've been here for a minute, you're lucky enough, like us, that if we had to make the call for our community to support us, they would be there. And so again, that's the power of starting to build that visibility and brand here. So I was kind of long-winded, but hopefully that has provided some experience, strength, and hope for those that might be nervous or are in active job search. And if you're really, struggling, please don't hesitate to reach out. My strategy sessions are not posted right now, so it's a kind of a first come, first serve
Mhm.
uh, situation. So, if you do need support, just reach out and we can start the conversation and figure things out from there.
Perfect. Perfect. I like that. And what's the best way to contact you, Anna?
LinkedIn. I mean, direct message on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm sort of on TikTok. My daughter makes fun of me constantly. So, the easiest way to get a hold of me is definitely on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And if I miss your message, send me one a couple days later, and I'll circle back with you. My DMs get a little crazy. So, but it's been such a pleasure to catch up with you, and
Yeah.
I'm constantly inspired by your content and the way that you serve and how you show up in the world and on LinkedIn. And just grateful to have you a part of my pack and my tribe.
Thanks so much. Thanks for carving out your time this morning and being
Absolutely.
here. It's kind of funny. It's been a while since we caught up, and here
I
we are on
know.
on like catching up like this. But just keep making that impact. I can't even tell you. Love
Likewise.
you so much. Can't
Love
wait to
you.
see you in person.
I
You know.
know. I'm like looking at my schedule this summer. I don't know if any of you other parents are looking at your summer schedule being like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do all this? So it'll probably be like August, September. And I mean, September is a better time to come to Texas anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, the weeks just go by so
I know.
fast. So
I know.
right now, I got to get back into the recruiting seat and
Yep.
find some regional salespeople for Kansas,
Okay.
South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota. So you can check out my
Perfect.
profile for all the positions I'm recruiting for, and
Awesome.
hit the bell to stay in the loop with all my multi-dimensional content.
Awesome. Perfect, Anna. Have a
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
day, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Bye, everybody.